Let's begin by downloading the data that you'll need for the Arnett Creek ArcGIS Pro digital assignment to compile the geologic map. So the main thing is download this file, and it's a big one, so just download it. Don't worry, there's no preview. Okay, once you've downloaded it, then go to Downloads, grab it. I have a GIS demo folder that's clean, and I will work with this one for these demonstrations. So I'm going to put it in there, and then I will right click and extract all, extract. Okay, it took a little while, and I don't know, I think that was just my computer. Hopefully it won't give you a problem, but it should unload with ease or uncompress. What you can see is it's a little bit awkward because it's inside this directory, which if you look on the upper right, it's the same directory inside the the folder name is repeated, so it's kind of awkward. But in here you can see what you need as far as the basic ArcGIS. If you go up into our GIS demo, and first let's delete that zip file to minimize confusion. And then the next one is if you rename this top one, just call it, put an X here. Then if we go inside that directory, we can, this is just an aesthetic thing, but if I grab this and I cut it and I go up to the same level, and in here I paste it, then what you can do, this one with the X is empty, so you just delete it, and you have a folder inside your main folder that is all of the basic ArcGIS. Good. So now let's go to the downloads, where presumably you might have downloaded something that looks like this, which is your Strabo field data that we shared with you inside the Google Drive, where we had put the graded materials from Arnett Creek. So I'm just going to cut that one. I'm going to go back to my GIS demo folder, and I'll paste. And then same as last time, let's go ahead and extract all. Just extract it to here. All right. And then it automatically opens the folder. And so what you can see is this lines, points, and polygons. Those are the 3 shape files from our from StraboSpot, and we'll work with them. So let's close that. Let's delete the zip file again to minimize confusion. And so now we're ready to go. We've got the data we need, and we have our ArcGIS system. So from here, if things are set up well, you should be able to just open that folder and double click on this project file for ArcPro, and it should automatically launch ArcPro. If it doesn't, you can open ArcPro and then open this into ArcPro, but hopefully this will work the same for you. On my computer, it takes a little while to launch ArcPro. All right, once you've launched ArcPro, you should have a screen that looks like this. And what you can see is kind of, let's have a little bit of tour. Sometimes you have some things shown on the right. Let's close that for now. Just keep things simple. You see in the middle we have our base map, which is our digital surface model. And if I use my mouse, I can use the roller to sort of zoom in. If I use the left mouse, I can kind of pan. And then you see there's a table of contents on the left side here, which has some kind of empty geodatabase. And then we also have our base map, so we can turn the ortho images on. So you can see it draws a little bit slowly. And so we can fix that because it'll be annoying otherwise. And so the first thing as we want to do as we prepare here is to, if you go up to the command search, we want to build some pyramids. And so You see I've typed it recently, but if you just type the first couple of letters, it will come. And if things are going a little bit slow, you down here in the lower right, you can type click the pause, and that'll stop it from taking so long to draw. So let's do build pyramid. So what this does is it creates some intermediate files that are for they're kind of lower resolution ones. So when you're zoomed out like we are, it's faster to draw the zoomed out version of this same uh, image. And then as we zoom in, we go to deeper and deeper levels of the pyramid. So we just have to do that sequentially. So let's start with B1, leave these other settings the same and run it. And this takes a little while on my laptop, but we'll just go through each one of them. All right. Okay, after building those pyramids, now we've got an easier way, we hope, to refresh the imagery. The next thing we want to do in our preparatory stage here is make a hillshade of our digital surface model. Because as you can see, if I turn it on, uh, it's just not that informative in this way, even though this is the actual elevation data. So what we can do is make a hillshade. So if you type hillshade, and once you have the hillshade tool open, you can choose the input data, which is this DSM 1 meter, and just use traditional. All this is fine. And let's create a new layer. You could save it as its own uh, geotiff. Okay, so we've got it to start to draw. Let's move things around in terms of the position in the layers stack. So I'm going to move this down into our base maps. I'm going to turn off the DSM, even though it's underneath. Uh, it saves a little bit of time if we don't have to draw it every time. And so there we go. This is, our brains are really good at interpreting what we see in terms of these hillshades. Load our data from Strabo. You have to kind of poke around a little bit here to get to the right folder. This is the GIS demo is what we want. And what I'm going to grab is the data from here, the search download. This is from StraboSpot, and you should be able to shift select all three and load them. Okay, so you can see this is kind of a limited data set, and for the purposes of this demo, I'm really just doing the northern part. And what you can see is we have the points, lines, and polygons. If you right click on each, so here we can see all my points, and these are straight out of StraboSpot, so you should be familiar in terms of the attribution which we did together. So key things are going to be our tags, which is this RU unit LA, and if there's some strike and dips, we may see them right here, for example. We can look at the lines the same way. And again, the probably most important two columns would be this trace type, contact, and trace quality. And then for help, I had the spot name, which you could use it make as a label, for example. And then finally the polygons, which in my mapping here are kind of limited, but here we see the types and the labels, which are coming from the tags. So that concludes the first of our tutorial videos and gets us ready to do our work.